The Milk River Formation is one of the most significant geological features in the area. It was formed during the late Cretaceous period, around 70 to 80 million years ago. The formation is notable for its unique geological formations, including hoodoos and coulees, which were created over time by the erosion of softer rock layers. Overall, the geological history of the Milk River area is complex and fascinating, with a rich record of ancient marine life and unique landforms created by millions of years of natural forces at work. Lonchidion is a small shark and is considered as an agile predator. Fossils of Myledaphus have been found all over the world, and they are known for their distinctive, arrowhead-shaped teeth that were used to catch small prey. The size of Belonostomus varied among different species, with some growing up to 2 meters in length. In addition to its long jaws and sharp teeth, the fish had a powerful, muscular body and fins that allowed it to swim quickly through the water. Despite its fearsome appearance, it was not a direct ancestor of any modern fish species. Overall, Lepisosteus during the Cretaceous period was a formidable freshwater predator with a similar appearance and feeding habits to modern-day gar. Chamops is thought to have been a terrestrial predator that fed on small animals such as mammals and reptiles. It had a relatively medium body size and had strong, sharp teeth that were used to capture and kill its prey. It was also known for its distinctive skull, which had a narrow snout and large eye sockets. This suggests that it had good vision, which would have been useful for hunting in a variety of environments. Acrotholus is an important part of the late Cretaceous ecosystem of North America, providing insights into the diversity and interactions of herbivorous dinosaurs during this time period. Its unique skull morphology also highlights the importance of display and social behavior in the evolution of dinosaurs. One of the most significant aspects of Gryphoceratops is that it represents an early branch of the Ceratopsian family tree, which eventually gave rise to the much larger and more famous Triceratops. It had a beak-like mouth and a pair of small, curved horns above its eyes, as well as a frill with a small, triangular projection in the center. Richardoestesia is known for its sharp, blade-like teeth, which are similar to those of modern-day venomous snakes. This has led some scientists to propose that it may have been venomous as well, although this hypothesis is still a topic of debate. One of the most significant aspects of Alphadon is that it is one of the earliest known marsupial-like mammals in the fossil record, with features such as a pouch-like structure and relatively simple teeth. Its small size, omnivorous diet, and habitat versatility also highlight the adaptive capabilities of early mammals in the face of changing environments. Didelphodon is known for its sharp teeth and powerful jaws, which suggests that it was a carnivorous mammal that fed on small animals and possibly insects. Its fossils also suggest that it had a muscular build and a relatively large brain, indicating that it was an agile and intelligent predator. Meniscoessus is known for its unique dental anatomy, which includes a specialized lower molar that is shaped like a crescent or half-moon. This tooth likely allowed it to efficiently grind tough plant material, making it an herbivorous mammal. Its unique dental anatomy also underscores the complex and specialized adaptations that allowed early mammals to thrive in a variety of ecological niches. Cimolodon is known for its rodent-like appearance and specialized dental anatomy, which allowed it to efficiently gnaw on tough plant material. Its molars were covered in enamel ridges and cusps, which suggests that it was an herbivorous mammal that fed on seeds and tough vegetation. The sediments of the Oldman Formation were deposited in fluvial channels in a variety of channel margin, overbank and floodplain environments. It was named for exposures along the Oldman River between its confluence with the St. Mary River and the city of Lethbridge, and it is known primarily for its dinosaur remains and other fossils. Scolosaurus is thought to have been a medium-sized ankylosaur which, like its relatives, had thick skin covered in bony armor plates called osteoderms, while a clubbed tail could have provided significant defense from larger predators of the time. Uniquely among ceratopsians, Coronosaurus possesses a number of accessory epiparietal ossifications rear parietal frill of the skull that fuse to the posterior and dorsal frill surface. They develop through ontogeny, the growth of the individual, as short spines that may fuse along their adjacent margins into larger, irregular bone masses. The recognition of Wendiceratops affirms a high diversity of ceratopsids likely associated with a rapid evolutionary radiation of the group. It also helps document high faunal turnover rates of ceratopsids early in their evolution, coupled with some degree of ecological niche partitioning during this time. The horn on the nose is the most interesting feature of Wendiceratops. Although the nasal bone is represented by fragmentary specimens and its shape is unknown, it is clear that it supported a prominent, upright nasal horn core. This represents the earliest documented occurrence of a tall nose horn in Ceratopsia. Albertaceratops is unusual in combining long brow horns with an otherwise centrosaurine skull, as centrosaurines normally possess short brow horns. Over its nose was a bony ridge, and on its frill were two large outwardly projecting hooks. The function of the frill and horns of Chasmosaurus is problematic. The horns are rather short and the frill had such large fenestrae that it could not have offered much functional defense. Paul suggested that the beak was the main defensive weapon. It is possible that the frill was simply used to appear imposing or conceivably for thermoregulation. The frill may also have been brightly colored, to draw attention to its size or as part of a mating display. However, it is difficult to prove any sexual dimorphism. Anchiceratops is rare compared to other ceratopsians in the area, and usually found near marine sediments. This indicates that it may have lived in estuaries where other ceratopsids did not live. Flowering plants were increasingly common but still rare compared to the conifers, cycads and ferns which probably made up the majority of ceratopsian diets. As with Stegosaurus, the wide age range present in specimens of Foraminocephale allows for analysis of the ontogeny, or growth, of the dome. Measurements of 27 different points on 21 their skulls showed that the dome became proportionally taller with age, but did not become significantly wider. Like other pachycephalosaurs, Hanssuesia had a thick skull roof. However, it is distinguished from other pachycephalosaurs by having a depressed parietal region, a frontoparietal dome that is wide in front as well as in the rear, a broad nasal boss on the frontals, reduced but swollen prefrontal lobes, and a reduced parietosquamosal shelf at the dome rear. Although only described from very incomplete remains, the relatively good state of preservation of them has allowed for the description of a new genus, Albertadromeus. It is believed to have been a small cursorial ornithopod that roamed around on just its two rear legs. Maiasaura lived in herds and it raised its young in nesting colonies. The nests and the colonies were packed closely together, like those of modern seabirds, with the gap between the nests being around 7 meters, less than the length of the adult animal. The eggs were incubated by the heat resulting from rotting vegetation placed into the nest by the parents, rather than a parent sitting on the nest. The hatchlings grew from a size of 41 to 147 centimeters long in the span of their first year. Brachylophosaurus was quite unique amongst other hadrosaurs. One identifying feature is the flat crest on top of the skull, but there seems to be two different versions with some individuals having crests that were much smaller than others. One theory to explain this is sexual dimorphism, where males presumably had larger crests than females for display purposes. Comparisons between the scleral rings of Corythosaurus and modern birds and reptiles suggest that it may have been cathemeral, active throughout the day at short intervals. The sense of hearing in hadrosaurids also seems to have been greatly developed because of an elongated lagina. The presence of a thin stapes, combined with a large eardrum, implies the existence of a sensitive middle ear. It is possible that hadrosaurid ears are sensitive enough to detect as much sound as a modern crocodilian. Parasaurolophus was a large bipedal quadrupedal herbivore, eating plants with a sophisticated skull that permitted a grinding motion analogous to chewing. Its teeth were continually being replaced. They were packed into dental batteries containing hundreds of teeth, only a relative handful of which were in use at any time. Many hypotheses have been advanced as to what functions its cranial crest performed. It is now believed that it may have had several functions, visual display for identifying species and sex, sound amplification for communication, and thermoregulation. It is not clear which was most significant at what times in the evolution of the crest and its internal nasal passages. Daspletosaurus is a possible contender for social interaction leading to pack hunting. At least 2 skulls show tooth marks that were inflicted to the face, with one of the skulls belonging to a juvenile showing that the tooth marks had healed over, indicating that the bite was not intended to be fatal. Face biting occurs in other predators, and can relate to a number of reasons including dominance over a group subordinate, territorial dominance, or possibly even being inflicted during the mating process. Dromaeosaurus differs from most of its relatives in having a short, massive skull, a deep mandible, and robust teeth. The teeth tend to be more heavily worn than those of its relative Sauroornitholists, suggesting that its jaws were used for crushing and tearing rather than simply slicing through flesh. Dromaeosaurus feeding habits were also discovered to be typical of Coelurosaurian theropods, with a characteristic puncture and pull feeding method. Sauroornitholists is thought to have had a keen sense of smell, due to its skull suggesting an unusually large olfactory bulb. It most closely resembles Velociraptor, although the precise relationships of the Dromaeosauridae are still relatively poorly understood. Microraptorines are well known for their small size and, in some cases, ability to fly or glide. Paleontologists concluded that it was unlikely for Hesperonychus to exhibit 4 wings or gliding behavior as in Microraptor. Nevertheless, it seems to show that Microraptorines did not vary much in size, remaining very small relative to other dromaeosaurids throughout their history. Trudon is a former wastebasket taxon and potentially dubious genus of relatively small, bird-like dinosaurs. The wear patterns of all Trudon teeth suggest a diet of soft foods, inconsistent with bone chewing, invertebrate exoskeletons, or tough plant items. This study hypothesizes a diet primarily consisting of meat. Struthiomimus was one of the first theropods envisioned from the outset as having a horizontal posture. There has been much discussion about the feeding habits of Struthiomimus. Because of its straight-edged beak, Struthiomimus may have been an omnivore. Its legs were long, powerful and seemingly well suited to rapid running, much like an ostrich. The supposed speed of Struthiomimus was, in fact, its main defense from predators.